Welcome back to Rapture Tales. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and get ready for another story you won't forget. Let's dive back to the story. Rain slammed against the Charles family home with a violence that made the gutters choke and overflow. Wind clawed at the shutters, and lightning cracked open the sky in jagged veins of white. Inside the house, the air felt heavier than the storm outside. 15-year-old Sophia Charles stood barefoot on the polished hardwood floor, her damp curls clinging to her temples, her chest rising and falling in shallow bursts. She could still taste the metallic sting of fear at the back of her throat. Across the living room, her younger sister Benita trembled convincingly in their mother's arms, her shoulders shaking with soft, broken sobs that sounded painfully real. But Sophia knew those tears. She had watched Benita summon them before, when a neighbor questioned her, when a teacher demanded the truth, when consequences hovered too close. "I didn't do it," Sophia whispered, though the words barely carried across the room. Her father, Pascal Charles, stood near the fireplace like a granite statue carved from fury. Pascal was a man who valued reputation above warmth, discipline above understanding. As a regional financial director for a powerful consulting firm, he had built his life on control. Disorder embarrassed him. Imperfection angered him. Tonight, he looked at Sophia as if she were a stain spreading across the carefully curated fabric of his life. "You expect me to believe you over your sister?" he asked, his voice low but sharpened by restrained rage. Benita let out another sob. "I saw her, Daddy. I heard her talking about it. She said she was tired of this family." The lie landed exactly where Benita intended it to, inside the fragile architecture of Pascal's pride. Their mother, Valeria Charles, said nothing. Elegant even in distress, she pressed a manicured hand against Benita's hair and stared at the floor. Valeria had once dreamed of becoming a classical pianist. Now she devoted her life to maintaining the appearance of perfection, the immaculate home, the curated social circles, the polite laughter at charity events. Conflict unsettled her. Choosing sides terrified her. Silence, she believed, was survival. Sophia turned toward her mother, hope flickering desperately. "Mom. Please. You know me." Valeria's lips parted, but no sound came out. The silence answered louder than any accusation. Something inside Sophia cracked. Pascal moved toward the front door and yanked it open. Rain sprayed across the marble entryway, instantly soaking the welcome mat. "Get out," he said. The word did not feel real at first, more like a sound detached from meaning. "Dad. It's storming. You should have thought about that before disgracing this family." "I didn't disgrace anyone." Her voice broke, the first tear finally escaping. "Please. Just listen. I will not argue with a liar under my roof." "Under my roof. Not our roof." Benita peeked over their mother's shoulder. For a brief second, her tears stopped. Their eyes met, and Sophia saw it. Not guilt. Not fear. Triumph. Pascal grabbed Sophia's backpack from the hallway and hurled it toward her. It skidded across the floor, spilling notebooks and a worn paperback she loved too much to replace. "You want freedom," he continued coldly. "Go have it." Valeria finally spoke, but her voice trembled with cowardice rather than compassion. "Pascal. Maybe we should wait until morning." "No. Discipline delayed is discipline denied." Sophia stepped forward, shaking. "Where am I supposed to go?" Pascal's expression did not change. "That is no longer my concern." The door remained open behind him, a rectangle of roaring darkness. Sophia searched each of their faces one last time, hoping someone would stop this madness. Hoping her mother would rush forward. Hoping Benita would confess. No one moved. With numb fingers, she pulled on her sneakers, slung the backpack over her shoulder, and stepped into the storm. The cold struck immediately, slicing through her thin shirt. Within seconds, rain plastered her clothes to her skin. She turned once, expecting, needing, the door to reopen. It shut with a final, echoing click. And just like that, the life she had known ended. The neighborhood looked unfamiliar in the storm, transformed into a blur of shadows and distorted shapes. Street lights flickered. Tree branches thrashed violently overhead. Sophia walked without direction at first, each step heavier than the last. Water filled her shoes. Her teeth chattered uncontrollably. She pulled out her phone. 3% battery. No ride services. No close friends whose parents would welcome a drenched teenager at their door in the middle of the night. Her best friend had moved away months ago, another quiet loss she had carried alone. She tried calling her mother anyway. The call failed. Battery dead. A hollow laugh escaped her before she could stop it. Of course. Thunder cracked so loudly she flinched. Her breathing became uneven, panic creeping up her spine. Every passing car sent waves of dirty water onto the sidewalk. Minutes stretched into something shapeless. An hour, maybe more. Her body began to slow, not by choice, but by exhaustion. Fear drained energy faster than movement. She reached a large intersection where one traffic light blinked uselessly between red and darkness. Rain blurred her vision. Headlights smeared into glowing halos. Sophia stepped off the curb. She never saw the car. Tires screamed. A horn shattered the night. Then impact, not violent enough to throw her far, but powerful enough to rip the ground from beneath her. The world flipped sideways. Cold pavement met her cheek. Sound disappeared. For a strange moment, everything went quiet. Footsteps splashed toward her. Oh my God. Oh my God. Stay with me. The voice was steady despite the panic, warm, mature, threaded with urgency. A face hovered above her, framed by rain. A woman in her early 40s, dark hair pulled into a loose knot, eyes sharp with intelligence and concern. I'm calling an ambulance, the woman said, already dialing. You're not alone, do you hear me? I'm right here. Sophia tried to speak, but only a weak breath escaped. Can you tell me your name? Sophia. Beautiful name. I'm Dr. Renee Hollister. I need you to stay awake for me. Renee slipped off her coat and draped it over Sophia despite the rain soaking it instantly. Sirens wailed in the distance. Sophia stared at this stranger, this woman who had no reason to care, yet whose hand held hers with fierce reassurance. Darkness crept inward, but it no longer felt empty. The last thing Sophia heard before losing consciousness was Renee's voice, unwavering, I'm not going anywhere. Hospital lights glowed softly when Sophia woke. The rhythmic beeping of monitors replaced the storm's chaos. Her body ached, but warmth surrounded her, blankets tucked carefully around her shoulders. Renee sat nearby, still in damp clothes, speaking quietly with a nurse. Relief washed across Renee's face when she noticed Sophia's eyes open. There you are, she said gently. You gave us quite a scare. Sophia swallowed. You stayed. Of course I stayed. No hesitation. No obligation. Just certainty. A doctor entered, explaining that Sophia had escaped severe injury, bruising, mild concussion, nothing permanent. Lucky, they called it. Lucky. Hours later, Pascal and Valeria arrived. Not rushing. Not frantic. Controlled. Pascal's first question was not "Are you okay?" It was, "What exactly happened?" Valeria scanned the room, clearly uneasy at the presence of hospital staff witnessing their family fracture. Sophia felt the old instinct rise, the need to defend herself, to earn space. But Renee spoke first. She was alone in a dangerous storm, Renee said evenly. That should never have happened. Pascal stiffened. Doctor, with respect, you don't know our family. I know a child should not be wandering the streets at night. She is not a child. She is a problem we have been attempting to correct. The word problem hung in the air like poison. Renee's gaze sharpened. Correction should never endanger a life. Valeria finally approached the bed but stopped short of touching Sophia. You frightened us, she murmured, though the statement felt more like a social reflex than a confession of love. Sophia realized then, with startling clarity, that if she returned home, nothing would change. Renee seemed to sense it too. Later, in a quieter conversation with hospital administration, Renee learned more than she expected. enough to make a decision that surprised even herself. "I'm willing to serve as her emergency guardian," she said. The words shifted the course of Sophia's life before she fully understood what they meant. Renee's home smelled faintly of vanilla and cedar, warm, grounding scents that wrapped around Sophia the moment she crossed the threshold days later. It was a 2-story craftsman house filled with bookshelves, soft lighting, and framed photographs of mountains, oceans, and smiling faces. Not staged perfection. Lived-in comfort. "You can choose any room upstairs except the one with the treadmill," Renee said lightly. "That machine is my lifelong enemy." Sophia almost smiled. The bedroom she chose had a window overlooking a maple tree whose leaves whispered gently in the wind. Clean sheets. A reading lamp. Space. Too much space, it felt. That first night, she didn't sleep. Safety felt unfamiliar, like wearing clothes that didn't belong to her yet. Morning brought small surprises: blueberry pancakes, a spare toothbrush already waiting, a neatly folded house key placed beside her plate. "You live here now," Renee said simply. "You shouldn't have to knock." The key felt heavier than metal. It felt like permission to exist. Days turned into weeks. Sophia enrolled in a nearby high school where anonymity became a quiet gift. She spoke little at first, observing everything: the easy laughter of classmates, the casual kindness that did not demand repayment. It was there she met L.A. Porter, a thoughtful girl with paint-smudged fingers and an observant silence that matched Sophia's own. L.A. loved astronomy, sketching constellations on the margins of her notebooks. Her father ran a small planetarium. Her mother repaired antique clocks. Time and stars, the family languages. "You don't have to explain yourself to be my friend," Ila said one afternoon. Sophia believed her. Healing did not arrive dramatically. It unfolded in fragments, a math test she passed with unexpected confidence. A nightmare that ended because Renee sat beside her until dawn. Laughter that slipped out before fear could stop it. Therapy helped Sophia understand something revolutionary. What happened to you was not your fault. Safety, she learned, does not erase fear, but it makes surviving it possible. Months later, a voicemail arrived. Valeria's voice trembled through the speaker. "I just want to know if you're adjusting." Sophia listened once. Then she deleted it. Not out of anger. Out of understanding. Peace sometimes requires distance. Years flowed forward, carrying Sophia toward a future she began to shape deliberately. Encouraged by Renee, who never pushed, only illuminated paths, Sophia discovered a fierce desire to protect children who felt invisible. Education policy became her calling. "If systems fail children," she once told Renee, "then I want to help rebuild those systems." On the day Renee officially became her permanent guardian, neither of them spoke much. Words felt too small. "I didn't rescue you," Renee said quietly afterward. Sophia shook her head. "No, you saw me." Adulthood found Sophia steady, accomplished, and deeply compassionate. She mentored vulnerable teens, her presence both calm and commanding, proof that broken beginnings do not dictate endings. One autumn evening, she stood on the porch beside Renee, watching rain fall softly across the yard. Storms no longer frightened her. They reminded her. Once, she had been a lost girl standing in the downpour, convinced she had nowhere left to go. Now she understood something profound. The storm had not destroyed her path. It had redirected it. Family, she learned, is not always the place you start. Sometimes it is the place that chooses you back. The acceptance letter arrived on a quiet Tuesday morning, tucked between grocery coupons and a medical journal addressed to Renee. Sophia almost missed it. The envelope was thick, the return address stamped in dignified navy ink from Northbridge University, a school known not only for academic rigor but for producing policy leaders who reshaped child welfare systems across the country. Her fingers trembled as she opened it at the kitchen counter while sunlight spilled across the tiled floor. She read the first line once, then again, her breath catching somewhere between disbelief and release. She had been accepted. For several seconds she could not move. All the invisible battles, the nights she forced herself to study despite lingering anxiety, the mornings she woke early to volunteer at youth centers, the essays she rewrote until dawn, suddenly aligned into one undeniable truth: she had built this future herself. When Renee walked in carrying a bag of oranges, she paused immediately, reading Sophia's expression with clinical precision born from decades as a physician. "That face," Renee said slowly, "is either very good news or very bad news." Sophia handed her the letter without speaking. Renee read it, then pressed her lips together as her eyes shimmered. She set the oranges down without looking and pulled Sophia into a fierce embrace. "I am so proud of you," she whispered. It was the kind of pride that asked for nothing in return. That evening they celebrated quietly, takeout from a small Thai restaurant they both loved, a candle stuck playfully into a slice of chocolate cake because Renee insisted every milestone deserved a flame. Yet beneath the joy, Sophia felt something unfamiliar stirring. Not fear. Expansion. College meant stepping into a world that belonged entirely to her. Weeks later, the campus rose before her in sweeping stone arches and late summer ivy. Students crossed the quad with purposeful energy, their conversations buzzing with ambition. Sophia inhaled deeply, steadying herself. She expected the old voice, the one that warned good things never lasted, but it did not arrive with the same force. Therapy had given her tools, Renee had given her roots. Orientation introduced her to Daniel Kim, a political science major with a calm demeanor and a habit of listening more than he spoke. Daniel had grown up as the eldest son of immigrants who ran a neighborhood grocery store. Responsibility shaped him early, compassion shaped him deeper. Where others rushed to impress, Daniel observed, and when he spoke, it was always with care. "You look like someone who notices everything," he told Sophia after they found themselves seated beside each other during a policy seminar. "I used to notice danger," she replied honestly. "Now I try to notice possibility." He smiled at that, not prying further, understanding instinctively that trust should unfold rather than be extracted. Their friendship developed with gentle consistency, shared library tables, long discussions about systemic reform, cups of bitter campus coffee neither of them liked but both drank anyway. Daniel admired Sophia's clarity. She admired his steadiness. Neither rushed the connection. Some bonds strengthen precisely because they are allowed to breathe. Sophia also joined a volunteer initiative supporting displaced teens navigating the foster system. The first time she stood before a small group, her pulse fluttered, not from fear of speaking, but from the gravity of being someone they might believe. She did not present herself as proof that pain disappears. Instead, she told them something far truer: your beginning does not get to decide your ending. Afterward, a quiet boy lingered to thank her. That single moment affirmed what she had long suspected. Her past had not merely wounded her, it had equipped her. Midway through her second year, an unexpected email appeared from the legal office managing Renee's estate planning. It was routine, they assured her, documents ensuring long-term security. Yet when Renee explained it over dinner, her tone carried deeper meaning. "I spent many years preparing for emergencies," Renee said. "Now I prepare for continuity. Whatever happens decades from now, I want you protected." Sophia set down her fork. "You've already given me everything." Renee shook her head gently. "Love is not a finite resource. Security shouldn't be either." The paperwork formalized what their hearts had long known: they were permanent family. Around that same season, Isla visited campus one golden afternoon, paint still occasionally smudging her wrists despite now studying astrophysical illustration, a rare field blending science and art. She and Sophia lay on the grass watching clouds reshape themselves endlessly. "You realize," Isla said thoughtfully, "that you walk differently now." Sophia laughed softly. "Differently?" Like someone who expects the ground to hold. The observation settled warmly inside her. Not long after, Valeria called again. This time Sophia answered. Her mother's voice sounded smaller, stripped of the polished confidence she once wore like armor. She spoke carefully, acknowledging regret without dramatics, admitting that silence had cost more than she understood. Sophia listened without interruption, her heartbeat steady. When the call ended, she did not feel reopened wounds, only distance, measured and healthy. Forgiveness, she realized, was not the same as reunion. Some doors remain closed not from bitterness, but from wisdom. Years unfolded with mounting achievements. Sophia graduated with honors, her research on educational stability for displaced youth gaining national attention. Offers arrived, policy fellowships, advisory roles, yet one opportunity stood apart: a chance to help design a statewide framework ensuring that no child would be discharged from a household without verified safe placement. The work was complex, often exhausting. Systems resist change. But Sophia possessed something bureaucracy could not erode: lived conviction. At the program's public launch, she scanned the audience and found Renee seated in the front row, Daniel beside her, ILA waving quietly from the aisle. In that instant, Sophia felt the profound architecture of her life, not built from the house she lost, but from every hand that steadied her afterward. Later that night, rain began to fall, gentle, rhythmic. She stepped onto the balcony outside her apartment, letting the cool air brush her face. Once, storms had marked endings. Now they sounded almost like music. Renee joined her, draping a light shawl over Sophia's shoulders out of habit more than necessity. "You've done something extraordinary," Renee said. Sophia shook her head softly. "We did." Renee studied her with quiet pride. "Do you know what I admire most? You never allowed pain to make you smaller. You let it make you more spacious." Sophia leaned against her, the gesture effortless after so many years. "I used to think being cast out meant I was unwanted," she said. "But if that night hadn't happened, I might never have found where I truly belong." Below them, streetlights reflected in the rain like scattered constellations. Sophia understood something with crystalline certainty. Family is less about origin than about recognition: who sees you, who remains, who chooses you without condition. She was no longer the girl searching the darkness for somewhere to go. She was the woman who built light, not only for herself, but for countless others still finding their way. And as the rain continued its soft applause against the city, Sophia felt nothing resembling loss. Only arrival. That's all for today. Like, subscribe, and see you in the next episode. Stay tuned.